Hey, everybody. This is our assignment for Thursday, our attendance assignment. I got a right to sing the blues. There's a reading and questions. So, Muddy Waters and a multitude of African Americans in the 20th century left their homes in the South for the urban centers across the Northeast, Midwest, and the West. This internal dispersion, known as the Great Migration, is the largest internal movement of population in the United States. So, African Americans are fleeing the South for reasons of racism, structural inequality, systematic racism, and heading throughout the North. Between 1910 and 1970, over 6 million African Americans from the South headed towards New York, Detroit, Los Angeles, and Chicago in search for a better life. Meanwhile, as the northern cities grew, a range of jobs emerged in factories, service industries, and domestic work. The work was usually hard and unglamorous, and old racial prejudices of the North also reappeared in different forms, including de facto segregation, through which segregation occurred even without legal mandate. So even though they were fleeing racism in the South, they faced a new type of racism in the North. They couldn't escape it. America just had racism everywhere you went. It is undeniable. So these cities seem far removed from a region long connected with a generation of very ingrained virus of racism. So what I want you to do is this is the first person account of Muddy Waters, who left the South and went to the North. And instead of becoming a factory worker, he became America's legendary blues musician who helped invent the rhythm and blues, or R&B as we know it. So I'm going to read this document. If you're watching this video, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to read it at the end, so if you want to read along with me, you can. But you're going to read the document and then answer these 4 questions. You're going to answer them on this Google form right here. Here's the Google form. There's only 4 questions. It's really a reading check, so it shouldn't take you more than maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So where did Muddy Waters grow up? One answer. What was the name? Boom, boom, no problem. Muddy Waters writes, somebody once asked me what my blues meant. I answered him in one word, trouble. So I want you to describe what you think he means by that. There's a couple sentences there. And then an opinion question. Why are some reasons, or what are some reasons why people move today? 4 easy questions. Hit submit. So if you want to read on your own, stop the video now and go do that, because right now I'm going to read this document to you. This pops up. This is out of the Teach Rock Foundation. Let me just get into it. I've got a right to sing the blues by Muddy Waters, told to Alfred Duckett. When I was a kid growing up in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, there were a lot of things happening around me to make me sad. People talk about Negroes in the South having trouble, but in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of progress made and a lot of Southerners getting to learn to appreciate my people as human beings. I'm not up on a platform preaching. I make my living recording blues, which sell to millions of people all over the country and appearing in nightclubs, which fortunately for me are usually jammed with people who want to hear my music. Somebody once asked me what the blues meant. I answered in one word, trouble. I don't know whether they got the message, but what I meant was that the blues, from the gut bucket alley blues, which I can offer right straight up to the sophisticated drawing room lament fashioned by the master musician Duke Ellington, the blues belong to my people. The blues are an expression of trouble in mind, trouble in body, trouble in soul. And when a man has trouble, it helps him to express it, to let it be known. Back in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, I made up my mind when I was pretty young that I was going to live a good life. My name wasn't Muddy Waters then, it was McKinley Morganfield, but my folks called me Muddy. And don't ask me why. After I got into show business, the public added the Waters. Lots of people think I wrote the tune. I'd rather drink muddy water. Sorry to say, I can't claim that one. Fact is, I was hearing that tune when I was a youngster. In those boyhood days, I always had an ear for the blues. I loved the blues. I guess I was born with 2 things: trouble and love of the blues. The music of Big Bill, Lonnie Johnson, Leroy Cobb, and others fascinated me. My daddy played a guitar in his day, but it was a good buddy of mine, Scott Bohanna, who taught me the guitar after I'd been fooling around with the harmonica for a few years. My uncle, Joe Grant, gave me a chance to get some real kicks out of the songs I was writing. Alley blues, country blues, what people call gut bucket. People down home appreciate and like my music. They understood it. But it was a different story when I came to big time Chicago. I found out that my people who had left the South, even though they still weren't really free, wanted to run off in a corner and escape their troubles. They wanted to make believe trouble didn't exist. The way I felt, that's the best way to let trouble beat you. The way to defeat trouble is to look it straight in the eyes. That's what I was doing when I sang my blues. Didn't like the blues. The blues didn't move anybody in the big city. They called it sharecropper music. They said I was a square, would never get anywhere trying to sell the public that kind of stuff. They laughed at me when I wailed the blues. I had every reason to believe that they had a right to laugh. For a quick while, I didn't get anywhere with my music. I was working, but only because I wanted to work, not because anybody wanted me. People let me appear in their places because I would work for almost nothing. If I had been forced to depend on my income as a musician, I would have starved to death. But I didn't intend to starve, and I didn't intend to give up my determination to play the blues. So I sold Venetian blinds whenever I could get a chance. My big break came when the town scot for Leonard Chess and Chess Records heard me in a club. He understood, and he believed that what I was doing would be commercial in a big way. He took me to Leonard. To Leonard, my music was a big joke. He didn't believe in my blues. He thought it was a waste of money to invest in my career. He didn't want to let the talent scout down, and he took an immediate liking to me. My first record for Tress Record was Feel Like Going Home. It went over like mad. Then the town scout knew he had been right. Leonard knew that he had played a good hunch even if he didn't want to, and I knew that I had been right to stick to my guns in spite of everything. After that, I had made it. People began to listen to the blues that they laughed at. They began to realize that these blues expressed their own feelings when they were low or discouraged. It's a funny thing about people in trouble. When a person thinks he's only got one in hot water, he's miserable. But when he gets to realize that others have the same trouble, or even worse, he understands that life just isn't picking on him alone. Somebody once wrote that the whole school of blues has come about the imitation of Muddy Waters. I don't agree that it is an imitation. No one can duplicate the blues I create and play, and neither can I imitate the ones who came after me. What makes me proud is that in making a success of myself in Chicago, I was able to open the doors for other blues artists to come up. Maybe that happened in other parts of the country too. My daddy, Ollie Morganfield, who still lives in Rolling Fork, is proud of my success, but he is more proud that I remember that what he once told me. He advised me to forget about the folks who laughed at me, but he warned, if I ever got too big, I should never feel like saying I told you so. I don't feel like saying that. I feel as though these folks should know now that it doesn't pay to run from trouble. Like Joe Louis says, you can run, but you can't hide. As long as we're Negroes, we got a right to sing the blues. As long as we sing them, we ought to be proud of them. This is from the Chicago Defender, March 26, 1955. So, if you've stuck it to this long, you've got everything you need to then go back and answer these 4 questions. I hope you find this interesting. The history of Muddy Waters is a fascinating story. Look them up on Spotify. Have a great day.